Welcome back, my friends, to another After Hours Stories with Grandpa Elroy. Today I'm telling you the second episode of A Dark Dollar Tar comic. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. 3 days after A Dark Dollar Tar had created the Greater Chicago Safe Zone, that he set out with a small group of moon wizards and hunters to make their way to St. Louis and set up another safe zone. His second in command was Vixie. Thralls are basically zombies controlled by the vampides, so we use hunters, humans who don't have magic but can't fight, to protect the wizards, while they use magic to fight the vampides. As what was left of Chicago's skyline disappeared behind them, they were set upon by two larger vampides and about 3 dozen thralls. Vixie, take the other wizards and take out the vampide trying to get behind us. Johnny, you and the other hunters clear out these thralls. I'll take the big vampide, said $. Vixie and 2 dozen moon wizards, MWs, started firing moonblast at one of the vampides. Hitting it hard, lighting it up and sending it crashing down hard. It was done. $. Gathered his magic and sent a giant blast at the big vampide, taking its head off. Johnny and his 4 dozen hunters made quick work of the confused thralls. Thralls without a vampide in the area to control it become almost motionless. Easy for the hunters to take out with hand axes, saving bullets. It was slow going that day, as with many that will follow. For 2 reasons: protecting a group this size from an attack that could come from anywhere. The other to scavenging for food, water, medicine, weapons, camping and fishing gear, anything useful. This of course was also the job of the hunters, as the MWs guarded them. Vixie, you take half the MWs and Johnny and half the hunters and search that way. Joan of Arc and everybody else with me. Joan of Arc got her name in the Vampire Wars just like $. Like Joan of Arc, she was not only beautiful but strong and very smart, a great person to have your back on the battlefield. Luck was with them though, there was no more attacks that day. It was about a week later, as they were crossing a farming field, just north of St. Louis, when 3 large vampire dragons rose out of the tree line, about 200 yards in front of them. Where did they come from? Said Vixie. It's a trap, $. Tar. We are surrounded, there are hundreds of thralls pouring in the field behind us, said Johnny. Okay, nobody panic. Kevin, Bob with me. Johnny, you and Vixie keep those thralls off our backs. Kevin, you take the one on the left, Bob, you take the one on the right. I got the one in the middle, said $. As they stepped forward from the others, they started to gather their power. They were going to have to be accurate and quick. Before $. Could finish gathering his power, the dragon shot its fire breath at him, causing him to run and roll away, but he was quickly back on his feet, shooting a moon blast at the vampide that had rushed at him. Before $. Tar's moonblast hit the vampire dragon, and before anybody else could do anything, the sky was lit up in fire, as if an explosion has happened right next to them, around them, as the 3 vampire dragons and the thralls were set on fire. As they looked up, they could see Queen Camille and her babies attacking in full force. They were coming in fast and hard from above the clouds. The field around them quickly started to catch fire. Quickly run this way, follow me. Thank the Queen Mother, we are saved, said $. They all quickly ran into the woods, as the good dragons made short work of the vampides. You are safe for now, my chosen one. You were lucky, we were just on our way back from moving, my precious. But I'll tell you more of that when the time is right. For now, as long as me and my children are on this world, we must keep moving, or my dead king will find us. Middle of the afternoon 2 days later, when they got to the arch and crossed the river into St. Louis. A big Midwest storm was on its way. They had discovered that there were several small camps in the area. They were on their way to the biggest of these camps. As they got close to the arch and the big camp, a large group of vampire dragons came flying in, using the storm as cover. Most of the vampides followed their father, the dead King Vampide, around, and he spent most of his time feeding in the more populated areas of the world. The main herd of vampides had mostly stayed in the greater Eurasian area of the world. But many small and a few large groups of vampides had broken off to feed all over the world. Moon wizards started blasting from all of the smaller camps all over the city. We immediately joined in as we fought our way to the big camp. After only a few minutes of fighting, the Vampides all targeted one of the smaller camps on the south side of the city, and then they left, disappearing in the storm. After completely destroying that camp. As the Vampides left, the storm came in that lasted all night, flooding most of the makeshift camps. It was a very sad and dark situation. We had arrived in St. Louis. Hopefully with a little organization and humanity we can fix this area. They spent the next 4 days organizing all the little camps in the area into one big working camp. Kinda like they had in Chicago, or close enough anyway, and they also spent a lot of time working with all the people that could use magic and teaching them higher power and the ruins. We also started to plan our next route to Kansas City, and to work with the group here to start a trading and communication and defense route back to Chicago now that we made it here. We hope with the bigger areas holding on and helping each other, maybe humans could turn the tide in this vampire dragon war that we were losing. Lucy was with us the day before we left. We found a group that had came from Kansas City, and 2 of them willing to guide us back. That last day in St. Louis, before we headed out to Kansas City, things really started to come together, looking like a real defensible camp working in harmony for the betterment of humanity. They even had a group ready to head back to Chicago and start a trading and communications route, with hopes that maybe Chicago had reached another city by now. Dark Dollar Tars group was one of 3 sent out to grow and hopefully find help. The St. Louis group even decided to send a party towards Memphis with plans to stop at several Missouri cities on the way. This was a good thing, since after D-Dollar group would make it to Kansas City, they had plans to go to Oklahoma, then Texas, in hopes of setting up a growing Midwest connections that can hopefully help us fight back against these damn Vampides. Thank you my people for joining for another After Hours Stories with Grandpa Elroy. This was the 2nd episode of DA Dark Dollar Tar. Remember to like, share and subscribe. As always, Grandpa Elroy is praying for you. Peace be with you.